Welcome to this Holy Week meditation. Our focus this year is the cross, and each reflection is based around a piece of music, a hymn or a song. Today's music is the Miserere by Allegri, and you may like to pause here and listen to it now, or wait till the end if you're familiar with it. Let's come into this space, quieten our hearts, still our restless thoughts, and listen with ears and hearts open to God. Allegri's Miserere Mei Deus, to give it its full title, in English translates as "Have mercy on me, O God." It dates from the 17th century when it was composed for use in Holy Week in the Sistine Chapel in Rome, and originally it was sung there and there only. 100 or more years later, so the story goes, the 14-year-old Mozart heard it and went home and transcribed it from memory, only going back later in the week to check he had done so accurately. Thus, within the year, it was published in London, and now is one of the masterpieces of Renaissance composition. But you don't need to know all that to be transported into another place as you listen to the soaring and sorrowful singing. The fact that it's in Latin, which most of us don't recognise, means that we can allow our souls and spirits to respond at a deep level, stilling ourselves, setting aside the strife and strain of everyday life. And that's the way I've always listened and responded when I've heard it played. But the whole piece is a Latin translation of the most turned to of the penitential Psalms, Psalm 51. It's a psalm attributed to David in the aftermath of his adultery with Bathsheba. However, it's a psalm we can all own in times of failure, when we become acutely aware of our sin and the distance that puts between us and God. You may wish to turn to it now. Let's spend a few moments focusing on those words at the start of the Miserere and remember with thanks the compassionate Father God we're coming before. Have mercy on me, O God, according to your unfailing love. According to your great compassion, blot out my transgressions. You may wish to pause here to do that. Some verses for the next section. Clean me with hyssop, and I will be clean. Wash me, and I will be whiter than snow. Let me hear joy and gladness. Let the bones you have crushed rejoice. Hide your face from my sins, and blot out all my iniquity. Wash me, blot out my sins, whiter than snow. Create in me a pure heart. Restore to me the joy of my salvation. Jesus, Emmanuel, God with us, by his death on the cross, made all this possible. A well-loved hymn puts it like this: ransomed, healed, restored, forgiven, who like me his praise should sing? Again, if you wish, you can pause and take a few moments to respond as you feel prompted to these promises of restoration and renewal. The psalmist continues, "Open my lips, Lord, and my mouth will declare your praise. You do not delight in sacrifice, or I would bring it. You do not take pleasure in burnt offerings. My sacrifice, O God, is a broken spirit, a broken and contrite heart. You, God, will not despise." Jesus' sacrifice was his life on the cross, separated from his Father. There he experienced the ultimate abandonment when he cried, my God, why have you forsaken me?" Not for his sins, but for the sins of the world. But his sacrifice is the means by which our wrongs can be washed away, blotted out, made clean, washed whiter than snow, as David writes. In this final period of reflection, you may wish to respond with thanks and praise to the one who paid it all. And then, to end this time, you could have the psalm open as you listen to the Miserere. When you leave this space, pray that in these difficult times, we may all stay close to our compassionate, gracious, and forgiving God.